So just oh, my internet is apparently not really pulling this off. I had set it to like absurd settings by accident. It now should be working correctly. I'm just gonna see in a moment if it's still going right, and then we'll actually start. Yes, it is. So I'll just pause this, and we will get started with Tomb Raider Anniversary, which is my favorite Tomb Raider games out of the few that I've played so far. It's essentially a remake, like a full reimagining remake of the original game on the PlayStation 1 and the Saturn. And it is remade in the most interesting way because they essentially took two teams who worked on the franchise and just decided to combine their strengths in recreating the old game in, more modern style. Now, we are gonna be playing the PlayStation 3 version of the game. The reason for that is I don't particularly super like the PlayStation 3 remake. It's like not a bad remake. It's just that there is certain lack of polish when it comes to. There is a certain lack of polish when it comes to graphics. It's just very obvious that there were certain things that they didn't like super do a great job at. Okay. Honey, did you ever play any Tomb Raider games?
Is the PlayStation 1, I think?
On the PlayStation 1, there was like 5 of them, yes.
No, I think the first one.
The first one?
Like the very beginning of Tomb Raider. The one that has triangle boot.
Well, that's all of them on the PlayStation, though.
Well, I think it's the one that doesn't really have a quest or something.
It doesn't have a story, is what you mean?
No, it has a story, but it doesn't have any direction within the game.
Oh, that's all of them.
Yeah, there's literally no UI in the game.
Yeah, that still doesn't narrow it down. The UI only ever appears whenever you pull out the guns. That's it. And this game.
I don't think it even come up if you pull out the gun.
No, that was in all of them, even in the first one. But yeah, we're gonna start off. What I have actually done was I enabled a setting called commentary markers, which is something I always wanted to check out about this game. It's essentially the director's commentary on the process of creating this game. We're gonna restart the mansion so we can actually do the quest proper. The first stage rather this stage specifically, the Croft Manor, is something that appears in every single Tomb Raider. And it's there to
Miss
let you
Croft,
get accustomed to controls.
pardon the mess in the foyer, but a rather large shipment of antiquities arrived while you were out. I would have had the crates placed in the gallery, but the security alarm has somehow been activated, locking the room from the inside. If this was not concerning enough, the renovators have shut off the water supply to the entire manor in order to continue construction of the pool house. On the bright side, I've located your missing journal and returned it to its appointed hiding place in your room. Faithfully in your service, Winston.
So yeah. Lara in this game in particular controls really nicely. She has unlike the original games on the PlayStation, the game actually corrects you a lot. Like a lot of the jumps are automated to a degree to not force you to make.
Croft Manor. This was the tutorial area in Tomb Raider 1, and we wanted to bring back Lara's home as one of the playable levels of the game and really expand upon it. We had sort of recreated her home before for Tomb Raider Legend, and so we wanted to sort of expand on what we had done for that game and make an even bigger and more immersive mansion than either Tomb Raider 1 or that game.
Right, yeah. The original Manor was much more of a Tudor style place, and obviously it was totally themed around getting people used to the basic controls. One area that was kind of fun was the main hall, where a bunch of crates were there originally just to sort of get you used to the idea that she can sort of vault over any different height, size changes with the press of a button. And we actually put the Ark of the Covenant in there by the front door, which luckily no one at Lucas noticed. Actually, I don't know if they have the rights to the...
Yeah. Did they trademark the Ark of the
I
Covenant?
don't know if they can. But
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a bit cheeky because obviously, yeah. But we had to do a few of those little things.
Yeah, so while we've added the crates back in, we've left out the Ark of the Covenant.
Yes, the trademark. Trademark stuff.
Just in case it is trademarked.
Most sensible.
Oh, it seems that Biaga dropped out. I guess his internet died. Well, in the meantime, we'll just continue. This is the second commentary marker. I really like those because they basically just it's just a
When
bunch
we
of
were
nerds talking
coming up
about
with the
the
idea
game they
for
love
what we wanted to do with the mansion,
and they created.
we decided that we wanted to go back and make a sort of really old school adventure gamey feeling level, a little bit unlike sort of the rest of the gameplay in Tomb Raider Anniversary. So it's all sort of really inventory based with item collection and then using those items to sort of open up new areas and whatnot. And then onto that layering in sort of equipment based exploration. So, you know, once you get your grapple, you can now explore new areas that you couldn't before, gating the player with their inventory and really sort of just trying to make sort of an interesting side level that worked with the rest of the game but sort of stood out on its own as little side things. I think it is technically not part of the main game.
And in this one, they also already teach you about the about how you can quickly react with the controls. There's something that we can pick up over here because obviously you can see that this would animate. Also, by the way, these
No
loadings...
wonder Father never got lost.
These loading times were not there on the PlayStation 2 or even the PSP version, but they're only present in the manor, which never ever loads again. Once you get past the manor,
This could come in handy.
very confusing why it's there even. Also, funny thing you can do, if you hold out the guns and jump around, you can actually climb stairs incredibly quickly. It's pretty funny. Also, I can break everything, except for these apparently. Oh, I thought I could break more glass. Also, the reason why I do the swan dive is because I like to. Also, it's the fastest way to move around, so there's that.
This belongs down in the garden. What's it doing in here?
Also, using the gun jump
That's
is
better.
the quickest way to get above certain obstacles, like low hanging, like low walls. Although you won't really encounter those as much outside of the manor. And it's not really like you have to do it. You have to do anything very quickly, because Manor is a very relaxed location. If I recall correctly, I can just leave from here. And now we gotta go to the garden. Funny thing though, this game doesn't really have loading screens in the levels themselves to like load the next location. However, it does heavily rely on loading corridors, how I like to call them, which it's actually a pretty nice change of pace because they don't really like to break immersion in this one.
In TR1, there wasn't actually an area outside of the manor that you could go and explore, but there was in TR2, and people sort of liked the outdoor stuff, so we decided to add a garden to the Tomb Raider Anniversary remake of the mansion. Though in TR2, the outdoor area was an obstacle course, but since all of that gameplay is now sort of encompassed within our gym area, we wanted to do something else outside, so we decided to make a hedge maze.
And well, I should say I do hate mazes, right? Like, I mean, that's the one rule I was trying to get across in the first game when we were working with the level artists was don't make mazes, basically, because they just confuse people and people get lost and frustrated.
Yeah, and that was sort of one of our concerns when we were making this maze, was not just sort of making an endless row of hedges that you sort of wandered your way through aimlessly, but to really put lots of little gardens and landmarks in there so that players would be able to find their way a little bit easier.
Oh, I should mention this puzzle.
This just proves time never stands still.
You can get a hint on which numbers you should input there on the sundial. But an easier way to get around it is to use the vibration feature of the controller. It will vibrate whenever you get into the right position. However, my controller doesn't vibrate, but I just remember what it is, more or less. Also, hilariously enough, on the PSP version of this game, which I also played, which is surprisingly solid, they removed the shadows because, you know, PSP's processing probably wasn't powerful enough to do it well enough. And that whole sundial thing is really hard to do because of it, because you don't actually really know where the sundial is casting its shadow. So you just sort of have to guess. And now we get a grappling hook.
This should help getting into those hard-to-reach places.
The grapple is really fun to
This should
use.
make for a shorter return trip.
It really emphasizes the the more fluid way this game controls compared to the originals on the PlayStation 1. because you can manipulate objects in like more free-form fashion, not necessarily on a grid where, you know, like where you're pushing boxes or even moving yourself on like a grid or jumping on a grid. Here, there is nothing grid-like in this one, really. Okay, now that we have the grapple, we can go to the gym area and do the puzzles over there. In the original Tomb Raider, the gym area was really like the main thing, because, well, the point of this was to just teach you what the controls were. Also, I kind of sequence broke that one. If you do it fast enough, you don't have to like climb up as much.
Okay.
There is a bunch of things that you can do which are very much unintended, but they just allow you to do it. And I'm glad that you can. Let me see. Okay. I was always confused by this section. Ah, that's what it's for. And if you press and hold the climb up button, she will do that fancy move. Somewhere there? No, it doesn't appear that way. Oh, actually, no. Don't need to be here. Whoops. Oh, by the way, I should mention, when I was first playing through the PlayStation 3 version, oops. Dang it. The floor reflections in this room actually glitched out, and it was displaying like random textures from somewhere in the game. The jump and grapple mechanics are actually very, very timing. Ah, there we go. That's why it was wrong. Like, you have to have pretty much flawless timing in order to do them correctly. Ah, dang it. They're actually a lot easier all to do on the PSP because the grapple button is just the jump button again. So they treat the grapple as sort of like a double jump, which makes a lot more sense. I always wondered how you're supposed to do that. Oh wait, I think I have an idea. Because while I have played this game a bunch of times, I have never actually gotten everything in it. Because I was mostly trying to do like like go through it the most efficient way possible. So I barely ever got around like collecting anything here. Oh, you can also notice sometimes she will like push herself up with her legs, push herself away with her legs, or her legs will be swinging around, which is actually relevant to what kind of jumps she can do in a given location. Like for example here, she can jump away or like jump up, where if I try to jump away here, that's not gonna happen. I can't also jump up. In this location I can only jump away. So they make it like very visually clear what you can do in any given place, which is very good. So yeah, you can see her, like she corrects her jump to make it more likely for me to get to the right spot. So you don't plummet into oblivion whenever you move your camera just like a degree to the left or right.
I thought I'd lost this.
Because that was sort of the bane of your existence in original Tomb Raider, just measuring every single jump to do it flawlessly, and then like wonder, is it even the jump that I'm supposed to be doing? Well, I just wasted an hour of my life. Okay. Yeah, now we've unlocked the crank, so I can now go to the garden again. Oh, also, funny thing about the loading corridors, they differ in length between various versions of the game. So, like on the PSP, because PSP has the slowest discs, all of the corridors which are used for loading in the second part of the stage are windier and longer. Which is honestly a really clever way to do it. Instead of having the game be like a lot more simplified or something.
Finally, I'll be able to take that hot shower.
Okay, and now we just go to any water source and just use the bucket through the water source. We'll need it to take out the fire, and also it's not really necessary, but if you don't enable the water, the pool will never be filled out, which actually makes one of the optional optional areas not accessible. Not that it really matters that much, but you do need to enable the water in order to complete this stage.
I do hope Winston will be able to start another fire tonight. Ah, yes.
And now we go to the pool area. first things first, before we get very angry, we did this. I said this. And this. Again, none of the things in this game are ever moved on a grid. You can move them around, like pull, push, like they're not on rails how they like how they usually were on the PlayStation 1. Okay. And now in order to do this puzzle, we just need to arrange this to face the direction that it says on the floor. And fix it on this one. Why she would install these kinds of things is a little bit confusing, but you know, what do we care? She obviously has a lot of money.
I wish I hadn't had to do that.
A lot more than she knows what to spend it on. There. Also, she can actually lose balance if you spend too long on these poles sticking up. Also, if she lands badly or just on random, it just can happen. Then you just... Oops. Then you just press the triangle button to get your balance back. Gotta do this part again. Oops. Far. Okay, let's try this again. Whoops. I hate this jump. There's two jumps in this in the manor which I can never get consistently right, and that is the rope jump over there. I tend to just fall down a lot from it, and then there is also the one that's coming up afterwards. Fucking hell. Well, this is gonna be the rest of the stream, probably. Have you actually played any other of the Crystal Dynamics or Eidos games, like A Legacy of Kain? There we go. Okay, that took care of itself. Now we can make a shortcut just in case I fall down, which is probably gonna happen. I said make a shortcut. gotta do is stick this up just a tiny bit, jump on it, jump even higher, and miss it. This is also sort of an introduction to some physics-based puzzles. There aren't as many of those, thankfully, because PS2 physics are, well, PS2 physics. But there are a couple.
I suppose I'll have to order another statue.
We got the bow. That's the last thing that we needed in order to solve the puzzle. Oh. The water controls are actually pretty good in this game. They're very intuitive. You keep pressing triangle in order to go faster in the direction that you're facing. You use circle, which is also the button that you use to go down a ledge or do a roll like this one, in order to go downwards, and you use X in order to move upwards, and you press forward direction in order to actually swim forward. Otherwise, you either do not move or you move in the direction of upwards or downwards. Although what I will have to say about the way they do the water segments is that they only give you enough time. You do not have any time to spare. And there is a high probability that if you haven't actually played the game before, or if you don't know where to go in like an underwater segment, you will likely start drowning. Which is a little bit unforgiving, but at the very least, in this game, when you start drowning, it's not that you die immediately. You can actually survive quite a long time if you just keep eating health potions.
What a delightfully gruesome display.
And we're gonna be needing that.
Now I'm getting somewhere.
Just jump up the stairs, because that's obviously the fastest way to do so. And is Winston here? No. He sometimes actually randomly appears right over here. You cannot talk to him for some reason, but he is there. There is still one more thing that we don't really have to pick up, but I just want to pick it up. And there is a bunch of things that you can read all throughout the
While
manor.
other traps have a similar closing mechanism, it was the Egyptians who perfected the savage effectiveness of the holding barbs.
And they give you sort of like a little bit of world building. They're completely unnecessary. But I believe one of them actually holds the like the solution to the puzzle with the sundial.
I wonder if Winston read any of it. And Gilead knew the gears of his heart would never turn again, as he sacrificed his one true love to save the kingdom he had fought for so long to protect. The Trials of Gilead, Volume 3.
Yeah, you can actually use the journal. I never actually did.
Medusa was a frightful creature in Greek mythology.
That's a...
Medusa was a frightful creature.
That's... Yeah, I never really used it because the hints are often rather ambiguous. Although she will bring attention, like when you're actually playing the game, to stuff that actually does matter. Actually, I believe that this is the wrong place. Yes, this is the
Something's
right one.
missing.
Yeah, we got the thing that's missing.
What a lovely tune.
Okay, and now we can leave the manor once the game gives me back the control. And we can actually start playing the game. I don't have any more outfits, sadly.
Vilcabamba continues.
Actually, there is something that we're missing. I need to show off one. Yes. This is a cutscene that shows off when you start the game. It's not gonna show now. 1996, so when the first game was made.
Now, what's a man gotta do to get that sort of attention from you?
If that's the sort of attention you want, Larson, you're well on your way.
Sounds like fun, but I'm only here to make an introduction. Lara Croft, meet Jacqueline Natla of Natla Technologies.
Good afternoon, Miss Croft. My research department has recently turned its focus to the study of ancient artifacts, and I'm led to believe that with the right incentive, you're just the woman to find them for me.
I'm afraid you've been misled. I only play for sport.
Which is precisely why I've come to you, Miss Croft. This is a game you've played before, with your father. You both spent years searching for the Scion of Atlantis. All you needed was the location of Qualopec's tomb.
You found Vilcabamba.
How quickly can you get to Peru?
Okay, now that we got that out of the way. Also, I'd like to point out, her name is Jacqueline. I guess her star searching business just did not work out in the end. She turned to ancient artifacts. So now we can properly start off with Peru.
Vilcabamba continues to elude us, and my insistence that we press on in spite of these failures has morale low. I suspect Jenkins to be the author of this sedition. He simply refuses to accept the possibility that Atlantis is the foundation upon which all known civilizations were built. Increasingly, I find it is Lara alone who remains untainted by academic dogma and open-minded enough to see this truth.
Lo siento. No traje bastante cuerda.
Not to worry. I'll find another way up.
Okay, and we got, interestingly, in the original game, this location didn't even exist. Or rather, it was entirely in a cutscene.
Welcome to the game commentary for Tomb Raider Anniversary. I'm Jason Botta, the creative director for Tomb Raider Anniversary.
And I'm Toby Gard, the original designer from the first TR1.
Ah, you were the creative director. Give yourself some credit.
There's only 6 of us, though. I mean, we don't have such grand titles back in those days, but yeah. So, in terms of the opening sequences of the original game, the whole thing was leading up to sort of the whole wolf extravaganza that happens, where it was kind of the big reveal of Lara Croft. And obviously, some of that wasn't really appropriate anymore. People know who Lara was, so it enabled us to actually be able to show Lara in the intro, in the foyer in Calcutta, and obviously we didn't have to go quite so crazy with the wolf bit with the big towels flying off of her and stuff.
And I think the essence of that whole cinematic and whatnot is the same, sort of an introduction to the main characters of the game, and sort of sets up what the entire game is about. So that sort of remains unchanged.
Yep.
Yeah, we sort of tried to follow a lot of the shots from the original game, sort of inspiration for us throughout the entire game, but for this opening scene as well.
And now we're in the tomb proper. This is actually where the original game started. Like, you can actually disable this trap if you care to, but it's just so much time wasting, where you can, for the most part, just like jump over everything, and it doesn't really have much repercussions. If you do, however, miss a jump there, or rather no, if you do get hit by one of them, that does actually hurt a lot, like half of your HP. But you don't really super need to worry about this stuff, because this game's fairly generous when it comes to the HP, healing items and such. Like, the thing that you really need to worry about is dying from, like, falling down huge heights. And I thought I saw something. No, that's just... And like, actually dying to taking damage from that, unless there are one-hit kills, is rather unlikely.
So I remember when we were first putting together the design for Tomb Raider, and I found that it was pretty disturbing how many games, how much there was killing in games. Basically, so many people killing each other mindlessly. You know, you walk up to some chap and just because they're from a different country, you can gun them down, and that seems to be perfectly reasonable. So in TR1, I felt like, apart from the fact that I didn't think we could do very good humans at the time, like other human enemies, it seemed to me like a much nicer thing to do to have the enemies be animals, sort of, you know, vicious animals like bats and rats and things.
Which is ironic because I think now most people would consider killing animals way crueler than killing people.
It is, yeah. I mean, pretty much, the worst thing about it is, of course, they're all endangered species. None of this occurred to me at the time. To be honest with you, I just thought, great, we're not killing humans hardly at all. What a great selling point.
When we redid it, we went and we looked at the animals in TR1, and they weren't very mean looking, which made killing them even worse.
I remember my teddy bear model was very cute.
That's right. So we consciously tried to sort of go back and make the animals much more vicious this time around, so you didn't feel so bad about killing them. You could maybe only lose about an hour of sleep instead of all night.
That's actually... Oh, damn it. It's actually something I always wondered about, like, what was the reason why they picked, why they went for animals instead of humans. But yeah, that actually kind of explains it well. But it really backfires because the animals in the original Tomb Raider were really stupid. Like, they were really stupid, they were really clueless, and you were just sort of like killing bears and wolves and stuff like that. Move, Lara, please. Also, the safest way to actually go down a ledge is to use the roll command, because that way you are automatically at the lowest point when getting off of it.
So this was one of the rooms, the Wolf Bridge room, essentially. So early on in the game, in the original Tomb Raider, where it's really just, hey look, there's going to be some big baddies that you're going to fight at some point, but you're able to sort of stand above them and shoot them to death.
Lara's so mean.
Yeah, well, or you could just leave them alone, I suppose. There was nothing really going on in that room in the original TR1, and I was sort of pushing for us to simply, you know, just skip this room on the remake because it wasn't particularly significant. But
yeah, I think visually it was one of the more sort of recognizable areas from TR1, though. So we wanted to keep it, but sort of changed a little bit. So I think it was you that had the idea, right, of breaking the first bridge, so that you fall down into the wolf area.
Yeah. So really, basically, make life difficult for the animal lovers.
Right. You have to kill the wolves now, or they kill you.
The people who didn't kill the wolves, didn't snipe the wolves, basically get the worst deal.
That's right. Plus, it makes the second bridge a little bit more intense now.
That's the big one, yeah.
Yeah, that is true. In the original, in this section, the wolves were just a punishment for falling down. You didn't actually have to fight them if you didn't accidentally fall down the bridge or mess up any of the jumping. Which, considering it was the beginning of the game, you would likely make some mistakes. Now, here is something I don't super care for. Like, you can fight a bear here if you want to get some extras. I'll do it because I usually avoid doing it, just for the sake of showing it off. But the reward that you get is like really not worth how much effort it takes to actually beat the bear. Especially early on, because it's they're still yet to introduce a mechanic that helps you out with defeating enemies more efficiently. Oh, dang it. There is a mechanic they introduced in this game in particular, which essentially what it is that once you have damaged an enemy enough, they will be enraged and they will like rush straight at you. If you dodge them and shoot them once, you will defeat them instantly, or in case of some enemies like bosses, it will do a lot of damage. It's actually key to doing any respectable damage to bosses in this game. Which, you know, that's a good use of a mechanic. You need to master it to be efficient at the game, and they force you to get good at it. And that's it. Thankfully, unlike the original Tomb Raider, where I would have had to restart the entire stage right now unless I have saved, this game does have checkpoints.
So this room in the original, it was the goal to try and create a sense of reality to sort of the progression. Like, we had to separate Peru into 4 levels, but when we were designing them, we made them so that they were supposed to fit together. We tried to keep the big door at one end, and then you'd be popping out on the other side into the new level. So they were very continuous, essentially 4 continuous massive levels, but they were split into chunks. One of the improvements is that actually happens now seamlessly, so you carry on through it. And it's a little easier that way to be able to tell what some of the areas were supposed to be. And this particular area was supposed to be essentially a fortified entrance to their city, whereby you've got arrow areas, these sloped walls, and then holes for people to be able to, I don't know what they do, chuck rocks at people, or throw stones, or call them names and stuff, leading to the actual main entrance.
Right, it was sort of the last fortitude of the Vilcabambans against the invading Spaniards.
Spanish.
That's right. And originally you came in sort of up top in one of the side areas and sort of worked your way around. But we felt that we really wanted to make the players play the route of the Spanish invaders, since that's essentially what Lara is. She's sort of coming in and going into the home of the natives here. So we wanted to make her run the gauntlet down the center.
Okay, we couldn't really hear that during this listening segment, but there is a tone of, oh dang it, there's like a clock sound going on. Actually, I see that there is something over there that I've never really explored. How in the hell do you even get there? I wanna try. I wanna try get up there. Oh dang it. Not from this side. I think what it is that they like. Let me see. There has to be like a way to get further up, but I guess it's not there. Because it looks like you can climb further up there and then jump over from the other side. Because there is also... yeah, there is something hidden up there. I'll give it a try from the other side. Oh, hi. Happy birthday, then. Let's see now. Is there anything... It doesn't really look like there is anything I could... I don't think I was supposed to do that. It doesn't look like I can jump over there. There isn't anything further to climb up there. I'm gonna still try this. Oh, I can jump up on this. But what do I do from here? There isn't like anything I could jump up on. Well, I tried. There we go. Oh, damn. My internet speed is plummeting for some reason. I guess it's getting a little bit better now.
By the way.
Yes?
Is the stages done?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think that I could stay awake.
That's fine.
You can continue streaming.
No, it's fine. We'll continue next time. I do want you to see the rest of the game as well. So, short stream today. Will be back later, because like I've already shown off this game on the long play channel a bunch of times actually, because I played through every single version there is that's similar to this one. I just want to show it off to you because I think it's pretty neat. So.